Hey Grizzlies, how are you today? It is Mrs. Smith. Today is Friday, and you know what that means? First chapter Friday. So I have, as always, a terrific book to share with you. This is called Stamped: Racism, Antiracism, and You. And it's a group effort by Dr. Kendi, who wrote the book called Stamped from the Beginning. And that book won all kinds of awards. People were talking about it like crazy. Everybody really loved it. It was a really just eye-opening true story about racism. And he decided to work with our friend Jason Reynolds, who we love in our classroom. He wrote Ghost and All American Boys. We're definitely a big fan of his. He took Dr. Kendi's book and rewrote it for middle schoolers, kids like you, and high schoolers too, not just middle school, but high school too. And I've actually been doing a book club with Dr. Kendi and Jason Reynolds every Wednesday. I have 2 more left. I've done 2 already. We meet every Wednesday at 2:00 in Zoom, and we do a book talk, or we do a book club with this book. And so it's been on my mind a lot recently. I read it a couple of months ago, but I'm doing the book club now. And I was just thinking like, wow, this would be a really good book to first chapter with you guys, especially because I haven't done any nonfiction right now since we started quarantine. But there are lots of great nonfiction books out there too that you could be reading. We won't be back in school this year, so unfortunately you won't see this on our classroom shelves. It'll be there. I have a couple copies of it, but hopefully our school library will get some copies of it too, so you'll be able to check it out there. And if for some reason we don't, you can always come back and visit me when you are 8th graders and come and borrow this from our classroom library. So I'm going to just read the inside blurb to you. It says, "The thief known as racism is all around. The construct of race has always been used to gain and keep power, to create dynamics that separate and silence. Racist ideas are woven into the fabric of this country, and the first step into building an anti-racist America is acknowledging America's racist past and present. This book takes you on that journey, showing how racist ideas started and were spread and how they can be discredited." So I'm actually not going to read you chapter 1 of this. I'm going to read you the introduction. So the introduction is written by Dr. Kendi, and it is a note to you where he explains where this book came from. And then the rest of the book is written by Jason Reynolds. But I'm going to read to you the introduction part, just to sort of that's what gets you started with this story. Dear reader, to know the past is to know the present. To know the present is to know yourself. I write about the history of racism to understand racism today. I want to understand racism today to understand how it is affecting me today. I want you to understand racism today to understand how it is affecting you and America today. The book you're holding is a remix of my book, Stamped from the Beginning, a narrative history of racist and anti-racist ideas. A racist idea is any idea that suggests something is wrong or right, superior or inferior, better or worse about a racial group. An anti-racist idea is any idea that suggests that racial groups are equals. Racist and anti-racist ideas have lived in human minds for nearly 600 years. Born in Western Europe in the mid-1400s, racist ideas traveled to colonial America and have lived in the United States from its beginning. I chronicled their entire history in Stamped from the Beginning. The novelist Jason Reynolds adapted Stamped from the Beginning into this book for you. I wish I had learned this history at your age, but there were no books telling the complete story of racist ideas. Some books told parts of the story. I hardly wanted to read them, though. Most were so boring and written in ways I could not relate to, but not Jason's books. Not this book. Jason is one of the most gifted writers and thinkers of our time. I don't know of anyone who would have been better at connecting the past to the present for you. Jason is a great writer in the purest sense. A great writer snatches the human eye in the way that a thumping beat snatches the human ear. Makes your head bop up and down. It's hard to stop when the beat is on. A great writer makes my head bob from side to side. It is hard to stop when the book is open. I don't think I'm a great writer like Jason, but I do think I'm a courageous writer. I wrote Stamped from the beginning with my cell phone on, with my television on, with my anger on, with my joy on, always thinking on and on. I watched the televised and untelevised life of the shooting star of #Black Lives Matter during America's stormiest nights. I watched the televised and untelevised killings of unarmed Black human beings at the hands of cops and wannabe cops. I somehow managed to write Stand from the Beginning between the heartbreaking deaths of 17-year-old Trayvon Martin and 17-year-old Darnisha Harris and 12-year-old Tamir Rice and 16-year-old Kamani Gray and 18-year-old Michael Brown. Heartbreaks that are a product of America's history of racist ideas, as much as a history of racist ideas is a product of those heartbreaks. Meaning, if not for racist ideas, George Zimmerman would not have thought the hooded Florida teen who liked LeBron James, hip-hop, and South Park had to be a robber. Zimmerman's racist ideas in 2012 transformed an easygoing Trayvon Martin walking home from a 7-Eleven holding watermelon juice and Skittles into a menace to society holding danger. Racist ideas caused people to look at an innocent Black face and see a criminal. If not for racist ideas, Trayvon would still be alive. His dreams of becoming a pilot would still be alive. Young Black males are 21 times more likely to be killed by police than their white counterparts between 2010 and 2012, according to federal statistics. The underrecorded, underanalyzed racial disparities between female victims of lethal police force may be even greater. Black people are 5 times more likely to be incarcerated than whites. I'm no math whiz, but if Black people make up 13% of the U.S. population, then Black people should make up somewhere close to 13% of the Americans killed by the police, and somewhere close to 13% of the Americans sitting in prison. But today, the United States remains nowhere close to racial equality. African Americans make up 40% of the incarcerated population. These are racial inequities, older than the life of the United States. Even before Thomas Jefferson and the other founders declared independence in 1776, Americans were arguing over racial inequalities, over why they exist and persist, and over why white Americans as a group were prospering more than Black Americans as a group. Historically, there have been 3 groups involved in this heated argument, both segregationalists and assimilationists, as I call these racist positions and Stamped from the Beginning. Both segregationalists and assimilationists, as I call these racist positions and Stamped from the Beginning, think Black people are to blame for racial inequity. Both the segregationalists and the assimilationists think there is something wrong with Black people, and that's why Black people are on the lower and dying end of racial inequity. The assimilationists believe Black people as a group can be changed for the better, and the segregationalists do not. The segregationalists and the assimilationists are challenged by anti-racists. The anti-racists say there is nothing wrong or right about Black people and everything wrong with racism. The anti-racists say racism is the problem in need of changing, not Black people. The anti-racists try to transform racism. The assimilationists try to transform Black people. The segregationists try to get away from Black people. These are the 3 distinct racial positions you will hear throughout Stamped: racism, anti-racism, and you. the segregationalists, the assimilationists, and the anti-racists, and how they each have rationalized racial inequity. That was a lot of words right there. I don't want that to intimidate you, though. Those words are important, and you're going to need to know them. All right, I'll get back to this. In writing Stamped from the beginning, I did not want to just write about racist ideas. I wanted to discover the source of racist ideas. Hold on one second. Go. I'll be right out. In writing Stamped from the beginning, I did not want to just write about racist ideas. I wanted to discover the source of racist ideas. When I was in school and first learning about racism, I was taught the popular origin story. I was taught that ignorant and hateful people had produced racist ideas, and that these racist people had instituted racist policies. But when I learned the motives behind the production of racist ideas, it became obvious that this folktale, though sensible, was not true. I found that the need of powerful people to defend racist policies that benefited them, led them to produce racist ideas. And when unsuspecting people consumed these ideas, they became ignorant and hateful. Think of it this way. There are only two potential explanations for racial inequity, for why white people were free and black people were enslaved in the United States. Either racist policies forced black people into enslavement, or animalistic black people were fit for slavery. Now, if you make a lot of money enslaving people, then to defend your business, you want people to believe that black people are fit for slavery. You will produce and you will circulate this racist idea to stop abolitionists from challenging slavery, from abolishing what is making you rich. You see the racist policies of slavery arrive first, and then the racist ideas follow to justify slavery. And these racist ideas make people ignorant about racism and hateful of racial groups. When I began writing Stamped from the beginning, I must confess that I held quite a few racist ideas. Yes, me. I'm an African American. I'm a historian of African Americans. But it's important to remember that racist ideas are ideas. Anyone can produce them or consume them, as this book shows. I thought there were certain things wrong with black people and other racial groups. Fooled by racist ideas, I did not fully realize that the only thing wrong with black people is that we think something is wrong with black people. I did not fully realize that the only thing extraordinary about white people is that they think something is extraordinary about white people. There are lazy, hardworking, wise, unwise, harmless, and harmful individuals of every race, but no racial group is better or worse than another racial group in any way. Committed to this anti-racist idea of group equality, I was able to discover, self-critique, and shed the racist ideas that I had consumed over my lifetime, while I uncovered and exposed the racist ideas that others have produced over a lifetime of America. The first step to building an anti-racist America is acknowledging America's racist past. By acknowledging America's racist past, we can acknowledge America's racist present. In acknowledging America's racist present, we can work toward building an anti-racist America. An anti-racist America where no racial group has more or less, or is thought of as more or less. An anti-racist America where the people no longer hate on racial groups or try to change racial groups. An anti-racist America where our skin color is as irrelevant, I know I said that wrong, as the colors of the clothes over our skin. And an anti-racist America is sure to come. No power lasts forever. There will come a time when Americans will realize that the only thing wrong with black people is that they think something is wrong with black people. There will come a time when racist ideas will no longer obstruct us from seeing the complete and utter abnormality of racial disparities. There will come a time when we will love humanity, when we will gain the courage to fight for an equitable society, for our beloved humanity, knowing intelligently that when we fight for humanity, we're fighting for ourselves. There will come a time, maybe, just maybe, that time is now. Okay, so I know that when I read that, you're probably hearing a lot of big words and it sounded maybe a little bit too technical or too kind of like, oh, wow, that doesn't sound like something that was necessarily grabbing me. But I have to tell you that this book really goes on to share so many interesting ideas and stories, things that I never learned about in school. And I really wish that I had learned about this stuff in school. In fact, I wish everyone learned about this stuff in school, because I think that all too often, we don't think about racism enough. We don't talk about it enough. We don't talk about what we have to do to actually make it go away enough. And so I think this book is really an important step toward helping us all become anti-racist. This is a book for Black kids, white kids, brown kids, like every kid. Everybody should read this book, because at some point, everybody is sort of, everybody needs to be at the table to participate in the conversation about how we can be anti-racist today. So, yeah, definitely check this one out. It is just so good. It is just so good. All right. So that's all I got for you today. I'm really missing you guys so much. I can't stop thinking about what it would be like if we were really in school and we would be getting to this time of year and we would be done park testing or SLA testing, whatever we call it now. And we would just be back to, getting ready for our fun end of the year stuff. I'm really missing that and really missing you guys. So I hope you're all doing well. I hope everybody's okay. I hope you're making good choices. I hope you're not making your parents too crazy. I hope you're finding ways to stay in touch with each other and you're taking care of yourselves, both your mental and your physical health. I hope you're getting outside and playing. The weather yesterday was beautiful. It's so nice today. I just hope all the things for you guys. I hope you're all okay. I hope you're all hanging in. So I really miss you. Definitely check this book out. Stamped: Racism, Anti-Racism in You. I have some of you in mind already that I know will just absolutely love this book. You will embrace it and suck every piece of information out of it to store in your brains. So, all right. I will see you again next week. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.